For a long time, cryptocurrency has been known as a fun way to potentially make some money. Maybe you'll lose some money at first until you learn the game a little bit better. Also been known as a way to have a store of value against the dollar. That's what cryptocurrency is. It provides value and it shows you other avenues where you can actually invest and put your assets to prevent certain bad things from happening, like government overreach. For example, one of the biggest proponents, things that helps cryptocurrency, is in fact the fact that it's away from the government. The government does not have control over it. The government cannot stop you from trading. You can use this method or that method, and it gives you an out. It gives you a way to go away from your currency of the country you're in right now and move it into crypto instead. That basically shields you from inflation, and it shields you from the government doing a terrible job, at least to some degree. So with that, we're starting to see a lot of people who are really afraid of what the government is capable of doing to the currency that exists right now. People are shifting over to crypto more and more and more. However, we are seeing one scary thing unfolding in the crypto space right now that could potentially take down some aspects of that. Take a look at this story here. EU targets crypto wallets in latest round of Russia sanctions. Now, the truth is, it's okay to actually go and try to do things to countries that are doing bad stuff. If you want to be putting in financial sanctions and doing this and doing that, it makes sense, right? You don't want there to be incentives in place for countries to do bad things. However, in this case, we're seeing a title that shows the government has more control over cryptocurrency than what we would like to see. Basically, the way this story goes is that there are exchanges right now in the EU, the European Union, which is one of the most populated groups. There's a lot of people who live in the EU. So because of that, the exchanges there have really a large amount of sway over the entire market. And right now, the government is controlling them and telling them, hey, you're not allowed to let people in Russia trade cryptocurrency. They're also banning a lot of government officials. Now they've added one more step to that, officially also prohibiting deposits to crypto wallets, basically continuing to crack down using their government power and control to force cryptocurrency exchanges, independent ones, into doing things they want them to do. Now that shouldn't be something that's in place in crypto. What should happen is if the exchanges decide that they want to participate in stopping what's happening in regards to Russia and they want to put sanctions in place themselves, they have the ability to do that. In fact, we did see a lot of crypto exchanges that were freezing some wallets on their own. Now that already is a little bit of overreach to see the exchanges themselves doing that. However, when the government steps in and starts trying to control it, that's even another level up. The exchanges are perfectly capable of determining if a country should be prohibited or if a specific person should be prohibited. That can be something that can be coordinated with the government, but the government should not just be able to put out a law and say, everyone has to agree to this no matter what you do. Because that right there is what we like to call, or what we don't like to call, rather, it's government overreach. It's plain and simple, they should not have that power. They should have to negotiate with the exchange if they would like something to happen. And typically speaking, an exchange will be inclined to agree if it is a reasonable request. But where this could become a problem in the future, what if the government says, okay, well, we don't like this specific person. What if, for example, you were to say a word that you weren't allowed to say based on the government's guidelines, or you were to use a phrase that the government didn't want you to say? Then the government could say, okay, well, you have to ban his cryptocurrency wallet because he used and said words that I don't like. Now that right there sounds unreasonable, it sounds crazy, it sounds impossible, but considering the fact that some people in some countries have literally gone to prison for saying words in the past, on social media, much less, can we really trust these government officials not to ever abuse this power as they start to learn how much of it they have and how much of it they can use? Really, what needs to happen is laws need to go in place that stop the government from being able to go through to these companies and tell them what to do. That should be illegal. It should always remain illegal. There should be the avenues open of communication. So the government, for example, if someone gets scammed, can tell the cryptocurrency exchanges, hey, this person just committed a scam or a fraud. Let's go ahead and freeze their wallet. Boom, there we go. That's a great use of communication between the government and the exchanges. And if an exchange is consistently unruly and not following the guidelines, then perhaps an additional measure could be taken, but that has not been the case so far. Exchanges have typically done the moral thing and the right thing for the most part. Now, there are plenty of exceptions to that, but overall, though, we have seen a relatively good relationship between that and what's right and what's good, which is not something that I can say the same for when it comes to stocks. Most of the big stock exchanges, they're all over the place. They do lots of bad stuff. That's another thing. As you start to get further and further and further along the line, as these exchanges start to become older, there's going to be more room for fraud and corruption to start to sneak in there, more room for bad people to make the companies worse, more room for people being unproductive and weak, and all of that can lead to the company's downfall. You have to have strong leadership. Unfortunately, it would be nice if everyone could just be la-di-ta-di-da all the time, but if you don't have strong leadership, it will eventually lead to a company or a country or whatever going down the drain. It's unfortunate. It's the way it is. You have to have strength at the top, even if it can have some negativity, but that doesn't mean that that strength should cross over into private sectors nearly at the level it is right now. The strength should be minimal, but targeted in the right directions, and more so it's for companies than it is for government. Actually, with government, maybe you want a little bit less strength, but you can't have, there's always balances. That's just the way it is. Like and share the live. The more people who see this, the more money we make. Doge to the moon, says Dogecoin Dad. I like the sound of that. And we also saw meditation commented. Oh my gosh. So some people are commenting saying, I get it. Some of the rumors on the internet have been, oh, look, Matt's doing this, Matt's doing that, Matt's scamming, Matt's taking money. I get it. It's easy to hate on cryptocurrency YouTubers. It's easy to say, oh, look, Dogecoin's down a little bit right now from its all-time high. Let's go hate on Matt Wallace. I get it. But the truth is, we're actually not doing that. I've been very, very, very good about when I buy into a crypto, holding long-term. There are a couple exceptions to where I have sold. For the most part, I hold pretty much every single crypto I touch long-term. There are a few exceptions to that. I've been very public about them on my show, like Tking, for example, which I did take some profits on a good bit of time after I initially bought in, way after everyone who I had talked to on the show and told about it had an opportunity to buy in. And a lot of those people did make tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands. Some people became millionaires from that call that I made. Now, that doesn't mean it's my responsibility. It's not whatsoever. They made the decision based on me telling them about it to buy in, and then they decide to sell at the right time, which is always important if you're looking at certain cryptos, right? Because there's no guarantees cryptos will last forever. So you can say that if you want. You can also go and check. It's relatively easy to find which wallets are mine. You can go double check that. So I'll let people can keep commenting that if they want. Thanks for the views, but it's. You can keep commenting it. It's just simply not true. I mean, I don't think the people who are doing that probably already didn't like us before. Maybe they didn't like Dogecoin. And yeah, we can go ahead and the people who are spamming stuff like that, we'll go ahead and delete them. We explain to them a reasonable argument as to why they're wrong, which is actually something that can be proven relatively simply. Some people have done that. You can find videos. And it's not just like a question. Like, you can go look at all the wallets that could potentially be mine and see really through the board. It's really easy to verify what I'm saying. But so if people still want to hate anyway, that implies that they don't actually care about the truth. They don't actually care about doing the right thing. They just simply want to come in and throw a little bit of juice on the party or whatever. We are all here because we have your back, says Joseph. Yeah, it's the same people who are spamming the same things over and over again, which is going to result, once you get blocked, you'll never be able to comment on the show again. So just keep that in mind. Be reasonable. I'll let you comment whatever you want a few times. Just don't spam it, please. Matt, you don't have to keep repeating yourself. The educated half of this chat know the truth. I would say the educated 90% knows the truth. It's just the 10% who come in, and when they do, we'll tell them, we don't have to keep saying it. Dogecoin Dad says, keep your head up, bud. We got your back. Yeah, don't worry. We're still moving full steam ahead with all the energy, all the fun, and the people who want to say negative things will just simply continue to be blocked and blocked and blocked if they spam. If you want to say it one time, that's fine. I'll probably still see it. Maybe I'll even read it, but Bitcoin Beach, how a town in El Salvador became a testing ground for Bitcoin. More and more stories coming out about this. A lot of people very interested in it. There's a picture of the actual beach. You can see some of the shops and stuff starting to go in on the beach, which I think is a pretty cool setup, the way they have this going. You can also see some of the people who have actually been participating. This lady right here decided actually not to accept Bitcoin. Some of them scattered here and there decide not to, but what's remarkable about what happened here is not just the Bitcoin acceptance and the crypto acceptance. What's remarkable is that we're seeing people who have small shops, oftentimes outdoors, where there's not even electricity in some cases, right? Some of them are just stands in the middle of the street. All they need is a charged phone, and a little bit of internet connection, and boom. You can do that even through your phone connection. Doesn't even have to be Wi-Fi, and you can start accepting money. That's cool. Normally you would need Wi-Fi, you would need electricity, you would need a register, you need this, you need that. But with what's happening now, it just takes a simple phone. It doesn't even have to be a nice phone. You can use a cheap, crappy phone, which actually isn't that crappy, right? Because it can still do all the stuff you need it to do. And then boom, you can start accepting. And the remarkable part, like I was mentioning, is that we're seeing people who are 50, 60, 70 in these situations that are actually accepting crypto, which is something that typically you relate to younger people who are accepting. If you see a business accepting, it's probably a younger person. That's just the way it has been going for the most part. But a lot of older people are the ones who own businesses. So that's why that's important and very good. Oh my gosh. Okay, but I think what happens too is, so basically some like the Safe Moon chats and stuff, they'll get a bunch of people together. I think it's funny actually, and they'll come spam the same stuff, and then they'll get them all to make like 5 YouTube accounts, and so they'll spam the same comments from the 5 different YouTube accounts over and over and over to make it seem like they're strong. You should never underestimate. If we had the same type of energy that people use for stuff like that to actually helping Dogecoin, boom, we would be off to the races. Dogecoin actually going up a nice amount earlier today, which was obviously fun to watch. So hopefully we'll still see more stuff like that coming soon. Let me go ahead. A few more people have to be hidden here. The nice thing is once we hide them, like literally they're gone forever. So yeah, someone said moderators need to work faster. Actually, Dogecoin Dad, let me add you as a moderator, actually. Okay, when Dogecoin, okay, I can do it right here. Okay, Dogecoin moderator, Dogecoin Dad, you are now moderator. There we go, boom. Dogecoin Dad is coming for you if you want to spam stuff. There we go. We should have added him as a moderator a long time ago. What the heck were we doing? Dogecoin Dad officially upgraded to the moderator status. Been one of our favorite people to watch comments from since the beginning. Everyone knows who Dogecoin Dad is. Can we tip on Twitter with Doge yet? Says Zaxi. Not yet, but Elon Musk hinting over and over and over again that is coming soon. So that's obviously exciting. Let's see. Hopefully Dogecoin Dad is happy with his new role. I'm next to moderate, says Richie. Right now, Dogecoin Dad and Diana are currently the only 2 people who with moderation status, and Diana is currently busy with taxes right now, actually. So she cannot do moderation every single live, and I try to keep. I don't mind seeing comments that are bad. I actually sometimes enjoy responding to them, so I don't like to have over moderation. That's why I typically keep it into a small circle, but maybe we'll expand that just a little bit, maybe. Why not? And that'll be a good thing, I think. You can see, so this is what Dogecoin did today. Obviously, a nice run there for Doge. If we look on the hour chart, you can see it actually spiked up a good amount, over 15.5 cents. Now going back down a little bit after that. So there we go. Oh, Jim Cramer, he's here in the chat. Jim, please say that Dogecoin is going down to 1 penny so that we can see the biggest spike we've ever seen. Would really appreciate that, Jim Cramer. If you wouldn't mind, just on your show tonight, explaining how terrible everything about Dogecoin is and why it's going to crash extremely hard, that would be really the nicest thing you could possibly do for the Dogecoin community, because we really want to see a spike sooner rather than later. And Jim Cramer is one of the only people with the ability to actually make Dogecoin spike by talking crap about it. Jim, is Dogecoin still security? What if it's actually the real Jim Cramer and I'm roasting like one of the most well-known people in all of finance? Whether he deserves it or not, he doesn't deserve it, by the way, but he is. I mean, I will say he is energetic. He at the very least is entertaining. So I guess in that way he does deserve it. In terms of his calls, not so much. So even if it's the real Jim Cramer watching right now, I'll still tell you to your face, Jim, you're entertaining, but if people are listening to you, what the heck are they doing? They should not be listening to Jim Cramer whatsoever. Everyone knows by now Jim's a meme. Whatever he says, do the exact opposite. Run as far away from his predictions and calls as possible. Just the way it is. And yeah, sometimes it is true. Sometimes we have a little bit of like no one gets 100% of the calls right, but here on this channel with some of our picks, we have significantly over a 50% rate of very high levels of success in terms of percentage gains. We've seen huge success when you look at all the picks combined. It is significantly up in the green. When you look at all of Jim's picks combined, it's down. Sure, everyone's going to have some bad picks. Anyone in the financial sector, anyone who's doing anything involving picks will sometimes fail, just the way it is. But how you can tell the difference between someone who is good to actually pay attention to and someone who's bad is by analyzing everything all together and seeing the difference between them and other people who are doing the same thing. That's how you know Jim Cramer is not someone you should be listening to whatsoever in regards to anything related to advice or anything along the lines of that. Dogecoin to the moon! Says AF Tech 72. I like the sound of that. Yeah, hopefully, as long as we continue to see these breakout patterns forming, it will not be long before we actually see Dogecoin sending itself up to the moon again. Just think, Elon Musk is not that far away from some of these big announcements, and when they actually happen, they're going to create a lot of energy really fast, which is the prime ingredients for a spike. Make sure to check out the locals and the Patreon right down there. Link will be in the description. You can join, you can be part of it, you can have fun with us, and you can be part of the most successful, fastest growing everything in the world. That may have been a slight exaggeration. Anyway, I'm Matt Wallace. This is Final Stand, and I'll see you in the next video.